YouTube live thing, but how can I best describe the feeling of what it's like to go YouTube live? Um, is the realization, well, that I charge into my phone, right, and record whatever was I was doing, right, to be some kind of like, in a way, money making scheme for me to show you what I'm doing. When I was talking about honey, my grandfather, and we were digressing in this really interesting conversation that was probably not that interesting to me about 5 minutes ago, but for you, man, that's some interesting shit. I can't wait to know what the fuck is he talking about now? About honey and ESP? Well, folks, dude, he was onto something. I kid you not. This is what Ollie's doing right now. The green tea and the honey with these things. Trader Joe's stopped selling them when I said, "Oh, Lion's Mane." There's no more Lion's Mane all of a sudden because of me. I know folks don't want to think that, oh, he's not famous. No, I was the undercover influencer that went around and said, "Oh, that's how. Let's test it on Ollie and see what the fuck happened." There ain't too much of these. Dude, if you eat a whole bunch of these for Trader Joe, you will trip balls. You shouldn't get behind the wheel of a car until you know what the fuck's going on. And I said, that being said, once you do know what's going on, right? You eat them. It's like, better with some tea, I mean, people, that's disgusting, folks. That's not normal, okay? You make some fucking tea, you keep them in a fridge nice and shit like that, like a lot of things. The fridge, ice cream, all kinds of shit, and eat pizza, I digress. So, as I was saying, green tea, yes. See, I listen ordering it and has a place. At least I know where the fucking tea is because, that was important. This sort of shit. I was like, I poured hot oil one time on my front of my hand. Oh man, I fucker up. I went right in the bathroom and I put it inside this cream, which is still there. And I'll never forget that from my life. Dad looked at me. "You fucking stoned, Ollie. What the fuck did you do?" Yelling at me immediately. Actually, shit, none of that shit. See? There's always some kind of reason for, that's so not crazy. Gotta be here. Don't tell me. You kidding me? Well, maybe someone cares. Oh, yeah, I need that soda cream. Maybe they had an emergency. Run soda cream, go. Fucking know you're still tired. They just went up and said, "Whoop." Well, see, some folks might find that not that interesting. So we're gonna redo this, folks. Check this out. Looks a little shitty right now. So yeah, bam, to be like, like a lot of things in life. So all of a sudden, Clay, like even that shit, they you're not gonna believe this, folks. I signed non-exclusive for all this kind of shit, and I sent it back to them. So nobody believed me. They'd be like, "Oh, he's not famous." I was like, "This it doesn't matter." I was the market research experimental dude. That if they didn't hit the stores yet, dude, test it out on me, man, first. And you sign your life. You gotta be careful, folks. Like, I never signed up for that crazy experimental shit. They inject you all kinds of weird shit. No. I was not stupid. I'm desperate. No. I mean, I was definitely called a different member, but I never signed my life over to that kind of weird experimental shit. But who the fuck knows what they did to us, though? You know what I'm saying? Like, who the fuck really knows? So anyway, but they're really into the honey thing, the Germans and the mushrooms, So it's like, all right, well, das ist gut, we can't take that away from you. Und no, but I say, like, there's an unhappy guy, the German Shepherd, that didn't remember that he sucks. And nobody's gonna know the difference. We're not really from around here. We're actually Jewish, but they're Austrian and they were loving one another and they're from the Alps. Guess what? There's a guy named down the road. Looks just like Ollie. And you know what? There's 100 of us. Just, and oh my God, Ollie, they all look just like you. And I said, well, it's a thing called Lebensborn. Well, just in the movies, not that happened. No, dude, it really did. Okay, it's not in the movies, kids. It really did. It's still happening here in our own country, and it got a hold of my brother. So, man. One thing I wish I did, man, was an Air Force and shit. They're like, oh, definitely, no, and no. So I was like, hey, you're gonna just tell me everything's a no? You're gonna make me sound racist? Like I said, there's a Latino, the no, Sereno, Latino. I just because I no, and no. It's better not to be like white supremacist, sound racist, but that's the kind of culture that has the rap and the fucking Republicans and all this kind of decadence and bullshit. It's been the downfall of so many civilizations, and you can see it because the Europeans just kind of laugh at like, oh, these stupid Americans, they don't think how it's funny. Is King Charles, right? Because the French Revolution, right? Circa 2026, King Charles, right? Zuckerberg, all these people, Bezos, everybody, people like to hate, right? I'm saying Bloomberg, Epstein, all these Cohen, all these fucking people, which before I said I wasn't going to sit them by the fucking names, and Prince, all these people, I don't think Clinton, honestly, dude, who the fuck knows I honestly, well, this is my experience, dude. I walked up to the dude. I was on probation for a felony marijuana charge. And my opportunity to meet the President of the United States at the time, which is a dumbass move as you could possibly be, I run out there and I hold a patch that had marijuana on it. Like, I'm that dumbass kid. I was protesting in Central Park and shit, As President of the United States, he's going to forget about me. Years go by, Years go by. I shook Al Gore's hand. It's funny. When I met Al Gore, it's a true story. You can't make this shit up, dude. I met Al Gore, right? and I just got out of the office here, this fucking office job. You sit there and get a fat, it's fucking just one of the most horrible places you could probably actually want to go to work for. I'm really think about it. The best. I wouldn't fucking be hanging out. I don't give a fuck. In the pin, why would you want to be stuck in the city? So I'm going to Bermuda. They got this fucking nice. But I said, Elizabeth. Point being said, why would you want to be conforming? Just I get it. The way you, and you could go to the office every day and be like, oh, you're like, how the fuck did he get in here? Oh no, and it was like. All of a sudden, because I had the clearance and everything, they said, you promised not to sue us. Here's another $1,500. I developed, and folks, don't do drugs, especially that are bad for you. Look, I just got through kicking this shit. Amoxicillin, they had me all kinds of shit. They even had me on painkillers, prescription painkillers, and I just, I detox myself, and kratom too, These are all gifts of farm. This is sacred. It should be doctors, period, not kids, right? So my parents are like, either you were fucking doctor, you knew what the fuck you were talking about, right? Or you didn't. So at the age of 12, I was that kid, whatever they told, whatever they wanted to tell the nice little good-looking German kid like me. Well, if you get tired, and the dog, it's not a person, it's a wolf, okay, okay, and this is a big distinction. Oh, my friend, no, it's the dog, okay. So if the dog gets tired of pulling you back home. And it's freezing cold, and you can't eat anything. Grandma yelled at me. I didn't really talk, bro. I say, oh, whatever kind of guilt shit you was going through. Maybe they told me my mom only if an emergency, and if it said the guy showed him 5 kilometers, you have to at least don't take it. You did at least 5 or 10 kilometer run for a couple days, 2-3 days in a row. With instructions on effervescent shit, and I'm 12 years old. Oh man, this is so crazy. And Andreas, isn't this awesome? And he's looking at me like, yeah, it's awesome, dude. And so his interpretation was, well, how could it one up? How could you one up that? I mean, think about it. It's very hard to one up that. Look at that dude. Look at it. Okay. It's like in a second father. It was like, oh, this guy, Joe, he's coming to live with us. And they grew up together in kindergarten, best friends in the neighborhood. I mean, I never seen closer love like that unconditionally between two grown men my entire life. And they almost killed each other right in front of me in the park over this fucking oxycodone pills, of all things. So, again, I digress. Don't do drugs. I didn't want to fucking start going on my prescriptions and shit, and nobody's fucking business, and who knows what the fuck's going on in my life, because I kick this shit, and folks, don't do drugs. They're bad for your teeth, all kinds of shit, it's true, it's the shit they told you about is being harmful. Most day, what is it? This is a squad. It's called we don't go there, but it's the most dangerous, chemical thing. And so whenever they're like, Ollie, you know what you're talking about, right? So they'd be like, oh, Ollie. I'd be like, well, it's like one. They'd be like, no, Ollie, that's 10,000. And so and I'd be saying, you know what? I'm looking at a microscope. And there's this guy, who's Alzy over there, and they went down in South America and said, Ollie, that they sold these antidotes. I think they took too much acid out of this. I'd be like, well, I mean, I had this little box. The guy loved me. I don't know, man. I'm keep smoking ganja. It makes me feel good. Cocaine, no, bad, poisonous and shit. But the tea, I was like, oh, wow, ink and all that kind of shit. I was all about it, Never touched like hard liquor, cocaine, or heroin. And this is a true story about heroin, which I should probably just say it, because it's YouTube Live. Huh. No, I can't do that. Well, anyway, I was friends with someone. And Jason, man, I guess he's dead now. What is it, 30, 35 years ago? He was known for, I guess supplying Jerry Garcia with all this China weight. He's like, I don't ever touch this shit. And I never did. He did all in front of me, all the supermodels and all this kind of shit, showing me these rugs that he had managed. And these rugs were saturated with pure heroin from all over the Middle East. And it had this, status of like, well, this was the jade thing from 50 million years ago. Nobody's seen this before, Ollie. Don't tell anybody. Don't ever touch this shit. I'd be like, you know what? I'll take your word for it. I never touched it. So I never did. So 95, I'm in Seattle. I go, Jerry's looking at Phil. He goes, man, what the fuck is he on, dude? What? I'm like a big shot. Open my mouth. I go, oh, I'm friends with Jason Chow. And Bobby looks at me and he goes, Aaron, he starts taking his fingers like this. This is true story, folks. I mean, I'm not making this shit up. I might as well just say it because it's fucking live. And that's what's so cool about it. It's more believable because it's live. Right? So this dude's like, here's me and Jerry. Jerry had been sending him shit in the mail. He's like, they kind of kicked me off that whole thing. He was a change addiction shit. True story. The art dealer. I was so impressed. He spoke 7 different languages fluently. And my German was like subpar. And he's like, oh, don't worry, but show me what you got. So I was on my way to Africa. And these are true stories. These are like these drug dealer demon stories that people would find interesting. That I guess, more believable if it's live. So that's what another thing about being live is kids. I can talk about shit that usually I would have to cut the camera off because I'm not trying to incriminate my friend. He was doing anything wrong. He was a friend of someone who had a really bad addiction to China or heroin. And unfortunately, instead of getting the prescription that he needed and the right people around him who loved him and be like, hey, man, let's try a different approach. He was blamed on that, being that bagman. So they kicked him off tour. So I met him in Amsterdam, of all places. He goes, long story short, after a few days of this really cool experience, I don't even want to go into, it's just a whole other. Anyway, so we're in Amsterdam and I'm swimming around in this pool and he's impressing me because he speaks fluent German, he speaks fluent French. And my mom's just like, oh, Grateful Dead. He shows you all this shit. I'd be like, yeah. He goes, yeah, I'm friends with them and shit. And I didn't just say nothing, but I opened my mouth in 1995 And that was it. Phil would just be like, okay. The last time I saw Jerry, I was jump up and down going, Mighty Quinn, like a dumbass. I would run to the road. I probably drank too much red wine too fast. I ended up puking myself to death for like 2 weeks. And these kids really, I mean, the place in Seattle was like, and I shoved all this gravel and shit, mountains and shit. And I'm like digging myself out, of those gravel in this dude's house. And she's like, don't worry, Ollie, we all drank too much, don't worry. And I was like, no, you don't understand. The last time I saw Jerry, I was jumping down singing the Mighty Quinn. Because when Quinn, the Eskimo, gets her. And so I was that far away from the guy. Well, and so the girls with the time, Geraldine, toujours, okay? It was with me at the time. She goes, did that guy just actually turn around 75,000 people asked you to come up on stage and sing with everybody? I said, he did. I know. It's kind of cool. It's like a thing. He really did, dude. And I said, no, I would never do that. I would never want to steal a star. No, they can't. And out of respect, I would never. It was an admiration that you couldn't have. And then he played Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Like, that was an experience where the audience and the performer now, that became the show. Whereas the Rolling Stones, on the other hand, that was something else entirely. And everybody was like, oh, well. And then the Beatles, they did think, oh, yeah. But let me tell you something, folks. Jazz, no. That's for real. Like, our being, it's universal. I don't have to explain that, man. And you could tell me all you want that because I was jerking off to Annie Sprinkles videos as my fucking babysitter, and she's a gay, lesbian activist, LGBT figure, famous person. This is the person I was whacking on. Nobody gonna believe me. Nobody gonna believe me. I'm gonna be famous. You're gonna make you famous. Don't worry, Ollie. Don't worry about anything. And I'm sitting jerking off. And I'm like, man, I can't wait to. She, listen, I ain't gonna lie. I was probably the luckiest cat. I probably had more blowjobs when I was like 5, 10, 12, 10. Who the fuck knows? When I was like underage, I really think about it. I was just trying to be nice to Ollie. No problem. Big smile on his face. And then when I became like 12, 13, and then they really started teasing me. They'd be like, which one you like better out of us? And I'd be like, whoa, Dad, Mom. I'd be like, stop jerking off, man. Stop thinking about it. So I'm like, because it's sexual, my father's side had, he didn't talk about sex and nothing like that, And he filmed my neighbor. She was breastfeeding. She got all pissed off, he's like, no, it's just, so it was a total shock PTSD for people who viewed nudity, right, from conservative viewpoint, from Catholic Christianity, as being evil and bad. So my father immediately offended people just by filming them. Be like, oh, you got no right to film me, man. I'd be like, yeah, it's beautiful. You're breastfeeding. So you offend a lot of people, my neighbors included. And I feel bad about that. But, it's like a lot of people, when they just can't see in their mind, it's so frustrating as an artist. Like, wow, isn't that cool? So people are like, wow, Ollie, I never had to do drugs before. And then when I came over here, I didn't want to do drugs ever again. And wow, like your dad blew my mind. And, wow, and I felt like I was tripping all of a sudden because he just showed you things you can't fucking say through a microscope, just like me, that you can't understand. And so, in all due respect and kindness, just like this dragonfly, if a dragonfly comes in the room right now, it's going to be aware that it's making a problem for you. It's considered as an empathy, and so that's like an energy that's universal. And no matter how much things you smoke in your body, it doesn't matter because the sunlight, right? We're all kind of gonna die anyway, And this is where my mom died, holding my hand in this room right here. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I might as well just share it all live when you can, right? That's the cool thing. It makes it more believable because it's live. See, that's the thing. That's the funny thing about fame. Rest in peace, Sir Sam Color. Fame is a bullshit trip, Ollie. Manager of the Grateful Dead and Rolling Stones. Look me dead in the eye. One thing he felt sure he had to keep telling me. And I met this dude. He was coming out like with this like stuff out of his van with like it's like what's that called? The gas in the dry ice. The dry ice. He's got the dry ice. He's got the van. And he's like, yeah, every time I show up, the band sounds better, doesn't it, Ollie? I'm like, yeah, that's what you said the last time. I don't know who he was. I didn't. I just remember from last night, and I thought, yeah, no, I can't remember. I don't. I trust him. I'll take his word for it. It's just like anyone else, just having a good time. Nobody believed me. He used to say, Ollie, truth is stranger than fiction. Nobody will believe me because fame is a bullshit trip, and money. Let me tell you something. Bloomberg, man, dude, you could have any opportunity to change the trajectory of my parents' treatment from cancer. Could have solved so many problems with pollution. Tell people to put their bicycle helmets on and drink too much soda and some guilt little program and your little fascist kind of corporate way you can't, narcissistic way to, you can't help yourself but to think about it. Well, how does that equate for me in the long run? See, that's what the business people, right, and art people, they just two things. How is that going to help me in the long run? Well, no. How does it help us and everybody? She's not here anymore, right? So I'm here to say, well, if embryonic stem cell research had not been banned by the previous administration we're not even go there, right? She'd be alive today because the stem cells actually just would have saved her life. She wouldn't have chemo, which killed her with the radiation, which is basically torturing people. You don't give them poison. Methotrexate destroyed my body, my dad's ability within his own DNA to make any more red blood cells. So the methotrexate, they were thinking, the chemo's going to no, that just made it worse and accelerated the process. And so the pharmaceutical company, they make these things, the Germans, and all these stupid in there, they don't really seem to realize, the reality of what they're dealing with. So this isn't just about, heroin and the spoon and, that's what your mind immediately can go. But really what it's about, we're all dying. We're all fragile. Look, and it's just a shot away, folks. It really is. And we have one chance as a democracy to say, well, had embryonic stem cell research not been banned by the previous right-wing fascist oil company execs, Getty and Koch brothers, and I'm going to name them all because I spoke to them all on the phone. Okay? And they're assholes. They're disgusting. Very unhappy people. And it's disgusting. And I don't have to even say, my friend said, well, he was not impressed by any of that. It was funny. I was like, Dad, I'm working for the fucking mayor in New York City and shit. And I was just going, fuck, if he wants to buy my art, I got more things to do. And he did. Just like the Dragonfly. The Dragonfly, when it comes in here, he's like, I got more things to do. But I'm not trying to bother you. Let me be on my way. All I know, she sang a little while and then flew on. Anyone who sings a tune so sweet is passing by. And so it was like haunted, if you fell in love with heroin, you were haunted and you were cursed for life. And that was the plague of the junkie, and I've lost so many friends like that. They just didn't, stupid motherfucker, and in Germany, there's I don't know how to express it in German. My mom made a point to not teach us German on purpose. If you can imagine that. Okay, my mom had green eyes. It was not like most German people. Okay, we were royalty, and it was like you demanded respect. My parents had an entourage of 50 people. If my grandmother dropped something on the ground, and she so much as flinched, even thought about picking up, somebody already picked it up for her. And they were, it was like Indiana Jones, and this is great. This is a little top because people don't believe me anyway. It was Indiana Jones. They went into India for these bottomless pits and these caves. They said, Holly, we don't know what they found, but it keeps going on. The locals are telling us, well,